She didn't notice the suitcase missing. Not the shirts, not the watch box, not the silence that grew like mold in the corners of the house. It was Thursday when I left. No note, no goodbye. Just a quiet closing of the door and the faint echo of her laughter from the kitchen, directed at someone on her phone. I remember the way it sounded, light, free, like the laughter of someone unobserved. That night I drove until the road turned to a blur of headlights and rain, the kind of rain that eats sound, that keeps secrets. I didn't look back. The next morning she texted, "Did you take my charger?" I didn't reply. 3 days passed before she tried calling. Once, then twice, then not at all. Silence can be a weapon if you hold it long enough. By the 7th day she posted a picture, smiling, wine glass in hand, with someone whose reflection I could almost see in the window behind her. Almost. That's when I knew she hadn't just lost me. She'd already replaced me. It began with small things, a missed call here, a new perfume she swore was a gift from a friend, a late night at work that never ended with tired eyes. You feel these things before you understand them. The shift in tone, the guilt disguised as irritation. I used to ask her about her day just to see how many lies she could fit between blanks. Then came the night she whispered a name in her sleep. Not mine. I remember staring at her, the moonlight cutting her face into halves, one that I loved, one that I no longer recognized. It wasn't rage that filled me. It was curiosity. Who was he? How long? Did she laugh for him the way she used to for me? When she kissed me the next morning, I let her. I wanted to remember how betrayal tastes before it rots completely. She noticed nothing. They never do. Not until the silence starts speaking louder than you ever did. I became an observer in my own marriage. No accusations, no scenes, just precision. I checked the phone records, late-night calls to an unsaved number, deleted messages, a pattern of weekends that didn't line up with her conferences. The name she whispered, Adrian. It appeared once, hidden beneath a contact labeled HR department. I traced the address linked to an email receipt for a hotel, a cheap one, a place that smelled of borrowed time. I went there on a Sunday afternoon, same room, same number. The manager said she had stayed with her husband. I smiled at that. The man was taller, he said, darker, confident. I thanked him, left a generous tip. People remembered generosity better than faces. Back home, I said nothing. I cooked dinner, washed her glass, watched her face as she lied about her exhausting meeting. Every lie she told became a thread in a web I no longer struggled against. I wanted her to finish weaving it, because once you know the truth, patience becomes the sharpest form of revenge. The DNA results came on a Tuesday morning, not for her, but for our daughter. It wasn't the child's fault. It never is. But truth has a way of making even innocence feel heavy. I read the report 3 times, then folded it carefully, as if neatness could make it hurt less. That evening I found her in the living room, humming. I placed the envelope on the table. She looked up, smiled. "What's this?" I didn't answer, just watched as she opened it. Her eyes moved across the lines, slowing, then stopping. The air changed. Something in her face cracked, the kind of break you can't fix with apologies. "I can explain." I stood up. "You already did." No shouting, no tears, just the soft, mechanical sound of me picking up my keys. She followed me to the door. "Please, it's not—" "True?" I asked. She said nothing. That silence was my confirmation. I didn't yell, didn't hit, didn't even curse her name. That would have given her power. Instead, I left quietly. No note, no warning, no closure. I blocked her number, changed the locks on the storage unit, transferred the house deed into my name. She never noticed the legal papers she'd signed. She thought they were for refinancing. Every step was planned months in advance. I had known, I had waited. A week later, she came to the apartment I used to call home. The door was locked, the curtains drawn. Her calls went unanswered. Then came the texts. We need to talk. I made a mistake. Please, just tell me where you are. I watched them pile up like ashes. Then I sent one message back. Check the dates. She didn't respond after that. I imagine she's still counting the days, realizing I left before she ever confessed, before the guilt even reached her lips. It's been months now. I see her sometimes, from a distance. She looks smaller, quieter, like a shadow of the woman she once pretended to be. People say closure comes from understanding. They're wrong. Closure comes from indifference. When the name that once broke you becomes just sound. When the face you once kissed becomes a lesson instead of a memory. She never really lost me. She lost the version of herself that believed she could deceive and be adored in the same breath. I left my wife, and it took her more than a week to realize, but I'd been gone far longer than that. Long before the door closed, long before the silence began. I left the moment she stopped being honest. Everything after that was just the echo of goodbye.